fingers a little mixed up there.
It wasn't live until it was 0.
Good thing.
Yeah, we don't know.
It's
Oh,
carpenter
no.
hands, you know. Your fingers don't work like they used to.
Yeah,
I know.
it's the Not Your Average Guys show. One more time, live from
Kearney.
Missouri,
Over.
Kansas City. Coming at you.
I'm actually.
Welcome. Hey, Rory, what's up?
Is Rory here?
What are you drinking on, Jimmy?
I have the old Coors Banquet.
Oh,
Nice.
man. Always fun on occasion.
And some water.
Yeah.
With a different Chiefs Super Bowl logo on it.
Yep. Nice. I made myself a hot toddy just a minute ago.
Oh,
so
man.
I got that going. Because I'm still feeling the gunk in my throat and chest. Yeah, also water. I got to drink a lot of water.
It's good.
What do you got going, Dan?
I know you do that.
I'm just having some Fresca and cranberry juice. Not drinking anything like super interesting.
It sounds kind of good though.
The jar is cool.
Although I am trying to stay away from sugary stuff because doesn't help my throat.
What's cranberry juice and 0-calorie stuff? So you could have that.
Oh well, that doesn't sound as good.
Well, Fresca's always.
Oh yeah.
You don't like cranberry and Fresca? Oh, I like it.
I mean, I can't say that I actually like any of the no sugar sodas.
Okay.
I can tolerate some of them. And Fresca would probably fall into the I will drink one on occasion. If they're, I would
I don't drink it
grab
straight.
one out of the fridge. If there wasn't like a root beer or something.
Yeah.
But other than Fresca on the occasion, I don't and even that, yeah, I'm not a fan of no sugar drinks. No sugar drinks that are supposed to taste like they have sugar in them.
Yeah.
Dude, I searched Not Your Average Guys, and I thought your old house was the national headquarters or something, and it's not showing up anymore. What happened?
I moved it.
Where are we at now?
Here.
Oh, it's NIAG. You don't have the full Not Your Average Guys. You just have NIAG national headquarters.
Oh, at the other house?
At your new place.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get updates every month on how much traffic my Google business page has gotten.
And?
It's not none.
Really? Is it human or bot? Because they have all these bots.
No idea.
Surfing around, looking for it.
No idea.
All right. What's the first order of business for this evening, Darcy?
Well, since we're on the Not Your Average Guys theme and looking things up, how about the YouTubes? What you got going?
Okay.
I just posted a video this week.
I just pulled my channel up on YouTube. I have three subscribers and no videos.
There you go.
Oh man.
So that's good.
Youngest to oldest.
Think of how many subscribers you'd have if you had videos.
Dude, yeah.
I mean, people are banging down the door for no content, and
right.
That's right.
They're like the votes are in. You have 3 votes for give us some.
I mean, I could probably double my subscribers with a video.
Yeah,
easily.
You probably could.
At minimum.
Yep.
I'll
How about you,
I'll
Darcy?
I'll make a video while in Florida about the place we're staying. I'll make a short of
About the beard in the place, like whether it's hospitable to your beard.
like the water slides and all that stuff.
Heck
Okay.
yeah.
The lazy river, the kids.
That's good. That's a good goal.
I'll try to put some videos. I'll have plenty of time of sitting around doing nothing, so I'll put a video on.
Nice.
Cool.
I did post a video this week, Sunday, of my furnace shenanigans.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it did not get it didn't get much traffic. Did gain a subscriber though.
Good.
So
Well,
yeah, my last
post-
3 videos have been low views.
what'd you title them? Was it something people would search or just random?
Well, let me think here. I did one that was basically a Leatherman wingman review.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to throw in some of the like EDC type hashtags.
Mm-hmm.
That one got very few views, like 40, I think. And the other one that I did recently was, I'm gonna have to look.
Oh, that was loud.
My burp.
I think so. Maybe
This Coors.
the cool.
I'm looking at your. Okay, here's your.
Oh yeah, that's the furnace one.
What's this one?
What is it?
Like never. Like,
oh,
why you're doing this? You're doing this because your windows are rotten.
I posted that one. That one got the most views of any of them that I posted this week.
And I wasn't even on it. It's just my voice.
It's showing me.
For some reason,
the energy
last week's episode, it like flipped back and forth automatically between like trying to figure out who the speaker was instead of just putting all 3 of us on the screen.
That's because you have the layout in your manager one as, let me see if I can find it. You can have grid. You can have speaker split screen.
I had it wrong.
Or follow host view.
Well, here's the Letterman one.
Yeah, and I have it set on grid
normally,
but somehow I must have clicked something else at some point last week, and so it did that. And whenever I pulled that clip to post a short from the episode, it was weird. But that has gotten 214 views.
That wasn't from last week, though, was it?
Yeah. We were talking about Windows. Oh, no.
That's super
It
old.
was not from last week.
It's like a year ago.
But it was the one I was working on. Yeah, it was the one I was. I'm way behind on getting these things posted to Spotify.
That's okay.
That's real old. It's before it got cold.
But I'm trying to get caught up. So, yeah, I think we've got like 15 episodes posted to Spotify.
And we've been doing it for over a year.
Yeah, don't pay attention. Don't worry about that.
You mind your own business. All right. So I posted 2 videos this week. I've gotten
Okay.
2 subscribers.
Nice.
One of them was about, oh, weird. Wait a second. Kind of weird. So one of them's about spray foam,
Okay.
and I'm going to look at it. 45 views, 1.6 watch hours, and it is trailing significantly below, but inside of my normal band, but pretty low for being 2.5 days in. It wasn't super interesting, but I made a fun thumbnail. That probably is hurting it because it looks weird. And then I posted a song, which I realize I probably shouldn't be posting songs to this channel like simultaneously, but the song has 495 views and 2 subscribers and 14.1 watch time hours. So I'm like practically, practically monetized at this point. I've only got
Practically.
like maybe 900 hours left to get to the 1,000 watch
Yeah.
hours. So I
In a
mean,
month.
yeah. Well, it's 4,000 is in 4,000 has to come in the last 12 months. So
Okay.
I'm a little over 100. I only have 900 left to be monetized.
You're
So
almost there, Dan.
I'm almost there. I don't know if I'm winning this race, but I'm beating Jimmy.
You're not losing.
Yeah.
One thing that is true, if you post something that exists and you're just covering it, it's bound to get more, at least looks, because somebody might actually be searching, the name of that song potentially, or they might get on a kick where they're just watching covers of a song and end up watching it accidentally.
Have you guys ever thought about posting a video about current events? Just your take on, say, a plane crash or something?
I haven't, but I know that would get lots of views because, like, who doesn't want to know what I think about current events, right?
Yeah, I do.
I do.
Well,
have you
that was our next
thought
segment,
about doing that,
right?
Jimmy?
I've thought about it, but I haven't done it. I've thought about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have enough thoughts to make a video on current events.
Maybe you could make a current events video from the perspective of somebody who doesn't have a thought on current events.
Now you're talking. It would just be me sitting there looking at the screen.
You'd be like, well, today in politics, some things happened, and I really don't know what to think of that. That could just be your bit. You just say what happened and then just be like, I really don't know what to
I don't even know how about it.
I really don't know what to say about that.
What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments section.
Leave it in the comments. Dude, you could do that. Oh, man. It could be totally non-committal. Nobody would ever know what you think of something. You just read it off of there and just be like, man, I don't know. You guys, what do you think? I don't know what to think about that.
You guys help me out on this one.
Do you want to move to current events, or do you want to move to Chiefs, Darcy, for the next subject? I got some funny ones about both of them.
Funny about the Chiefs.
Yeah, you want?
Okay, go for it.
Oh, sorry. Which one?
Oh, I don't know. Which one's the funniest? Which do we need to save one for last?
No, it's not that funny. It's just.
Oh, okay.
I saw an interview with the guy who claimed to be the biggest Chiefs fan.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't Eric Stone Street. It was just some random dude. Yeah, no joke. I was like, that ain't true. And
can't believe everything you hear on the internet.
Actually, I saw that dude on a cruise, some kind of cruise commercial a couple days ago. Driving a go-kart.
Norwegian.
Is it Norwegian?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this dude is stumping to he's supposedly the only fan who has a legit Patrick Mahomes tattoo with a Patrick Mahomes signature, meaning he got the tattoo and then he got Mahomes to sign it, and then he got that tattooed into his back also.
Nice.
Right? And
Okay.
it's a legit like photorealistic Patrick Mahomes like throwing the football, right? And he calls it his champ stamp. And the reason that he calls it his champ stamp is because it's on the small of his back. And so he's I don't know if he was really planning on it, or I mean he might as well. He's stumping, he's going around to news outlets and stuff to get attention of Taylor and Travis, and he's gonna get their tattoo of them with their signatures on beside Mahomes on his champ stamp.
That'd be something.
Giving interviews and trying to get some notoriety about his tattoo, because they've won every game he's ever gone to, including multiple Super Bowls since he got the champ stamp. And so he's like, I'm basically necessary at this point, like needed.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing about that. There are a lot of people that the Chiefs have won every time they've been to a game.
Yeah. Well, especially in the last like 7 years.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot of people
have won every time
that have a winning record with the Chiefs.
So I'm just like the rando person that has like that. I don't know. 3 years ago, every time I sat down to watch a Chiefs game, they lost. I was just like,
that's bad. That's bad on you.
They only lost like 4 games, I think.
So it's your fault.
I started to feel that way. I mean, it's hard. You got to think about it. It's hard not to think that when you got a team that's doing pretty dang good, and every time you sit down to watch a game, they lose.
I feel like I watched 2, maybe 3 games with you last year, and they won them all.
This is a couple of years back. This was like, this might have been like, this might have been before, because they had a couple really good years before they actually won the Super Bowl. Like they had like 2, 3 really pretty good seasons, right?
Yep.
I think it was one of those seasons. So it's been a while, but like, I wasn't helping. So, yeah. And what else you guys got in Chiefs news? Is there anything? I don't even have my Chiefs hat on.
Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. It's this Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've heard that.
Mm-hmm. That's my current event.
That's your current event?
Yeah. Who is it? I've been hearing they picked up a new player. Is that right, Jimmy?
You've been hearing things I haven't. I
could pick up a player this late in the season.
I haven't been keeping up with anything Chiefs the last few days.
Man, I really think somebody was saying.
I mean, they can't add anybody to their roster this late in the game.
That's what I mean. They can't, can they?
Maybe it's just somebody that was deep that's being talked about.
I mean, I think they could pick somebody up and put him on maybe the practice squad or something. I don't know.
We need a guy named Jamie that's behind the camera that looks things up for us.
So yeah, I think this is who they were talking about. Joshua Uche.
What position?
Edge rusher.
They need those kind of guys.
But I don't know. Let's see if this has any kind of timeline. Oh, it's old. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
Maybe it was someone like me who was like, what was that somebody was saying? And then they said that out loud and I heard them. And then I thought they knew what they were talking about.
Could be.
Okay, let me read
but-
something here because I do see something that's about that. If the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, both Taquan Thornton and Joshua Ushai will be champions. Okay, that doesn't help a lot.
I cheered really, really loud at the this game.
The last game.
So I kind of feel like I should get a ring
I agree.
if they win the Super Bowl.
I think they sell them to people like you.
Yeah, I've heard that.
The trade deadline.
I think they're expensive.
Well, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think they make some pretty cheap ones though. Just not the same quality as the Tiffany.
Yeah.
You got the Tiffany?
I think you can kind of tell the difference.
I'm sure you can.
Yeah. I think it's distinct.
Probably.
All right, Dan, what you got in the political realm? You said you got more funny stuff there.
Dude, so today, I don't know if you guys have followed politics today at all, but today
Only a little bit.
they closed down this company that's it's an NGO, non-government organization called the USAID, USAID. And
Okay.
you've heard about this? They closed
No.
the doors. They locked the people who work at the headquarters out. Like, they showed up to work today, locked out of the building. And so the idea there is USAID is a non-government, or it's not part of the government. It's just money that our taxpayers, at some point Congress said, we're going to create this entity and it's going to distribute stuff around the world, probably World War II era or something like that, right? I don't know all the details of it, but they shut it down, and the new administration got a little smarter with this shutdown than they have with others. They basically said, we're not stopping all funds going out from USAID, but we are stopping anything where the person who's being funded cannot produce the actual act of Congress that says that money goes to them from USAID, right? So if Congress voted and you get money, you still get money. If they did not, your money's on hold until further notice, right? So there's no like congressional problem because they're not saying you can't get it if Congress didn't give it to you. But if you're just getting money because some bureaucrat decided you get money, and we're talking like billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So when they were asked about it, they produced this document with just like a handful of examples of things that USAID is funding. Because like if you ever see a picture of USAID on like in some African country in some desert with like on a water truck or on a bag of grain that's being shipped to some place where they have a drought, that's what you think of. But the list of things that they had funding for were like at $20,000 per event for drag shows in some place in Central America, and like $80,000 to write a book about transgender, like fairies or something like that in some other country, and $1.2 million to fund uh, LBGTQ and what's it called, DEI, in some building, some government building in some country that you've never heard of, right? So it's like just not feeding poor people, not feeding drought, not like mowing down mosquitoes in some malaria ridden area, but like bizarre stuff.
Not
And
aiding people. It's
no, not
just the
just a pile of BS. So one dude was being interviewed and asked by the interviewer about it, and he produced the same list that the White House produced. And the interviewer, the person who's like the news, listens to the whole list and just completely straight faced, she's like, yeah, but those things are like 1% of the US budget. They're insignificant. And he's like, that's billions of dollars. And she's just like, but it's only 1%. Like 1% of a number you can't think of is, I guess, could be almost nothing in some people's mind. The second thing is Chuck Schumer is on the, at the State House or whatever on Capitol Hill bloviating about it. And he literally is like, what are they going to go after next? Are they going to go after the post office or the IRS or Social Security? And I'm literally like driving in the truck and I'm like, yes, please. Yes, all of those. All of them. I'm like, what kind of a threat is that?
Oh man.
Come on, man. Who are you talking to? Somebody, okay, Jimmy.
Yo.
Doge is going after USAID. How pissed are you going to be if they go after the IRS?
I'm not.
Why not? Like, isn't that important to you?
Yes.
Don't you want to get audited? Don't you want your check to be garnished? What's your problem? Don't you love America?
Who are they going to go after next? The IRS. Dude,
yes, go after the IRS next. Please.
I saw a little bit. I just read a little bit
My
of
wife
this
just asked me, could I
article.
yell a little quieter?
I read a little bit of an article, and they were talking about how crazy it is that this administration is going after the FBI when the FBI is such a conservative organization. And you just think to yourself, well, okay, sure, for like the people who are the like street level FBI is made up of a bunch of law enforcement guys, yeah. But
38% of them work in Washington.
But the people who run the FBI and who were okay with using the FBI to do silliness,
Right.
on behalf of the former administration. Nobody wants that. No one wants a federal law enforcement agency that's gonna be weaponized against any person,
right,
or any organization. Like, you want a federal law enforcement agency that's going to uphold the law.
right.
That'd be ideal.
So
I mean, in a perfect world, but come on.
If he goes after the politicians who run an organization like that, everyone's on board.
Absolutely. I think that they genuinely believe that most people want the government meddling in everything. Like, I think that there's a contingency of people who work with the government who think, like, they genuinely think that people are like 4 years old and we're just sitting around here waiting for the government to come by so we can get ours. And it's just so dumb.
Yep.
Try not to get too riled up.
Don't get too loud.
Here's
Ask me not to yell too
here's the
loud.
politics that I heard about today. Apparently, well, a couple things. One is apparently there's a statistic out there that says at this point in Trump's presidency, which were what
15 days in.
we're 15, 16 days in.
Yeah.
He has answered on the record more questions by the media or anyone, just on the record question, and gets an answer more in these 15 days than Biden did his entire 4 years.
What?
Yeah.
Is that for real?
It's a statistic that's floating out there.
It's probably true.
The other thing that I heard somebody say is that apparently there is potentially a credible threat from, I think, Iran. You know, there's some sources that are saying Iran is threatening to assassinate Trump. And he said, listen, if you come after me, I'm going to obliterate your entire country.
Oh, man.
And that's that.
I mean, why not?
I mean, like, the thing is, like, the U.S. potentially could assassinate probably anybody. Like, they probably have the capability to do so. And it's just a policy that we don't. Like,
right.
We'll expend a lot of other people's lives.
I think it's a decent policy.
Yeah. I mean,
for the most part,
I guess.
Yeah. It's some people's policy to not, or to go ahead and try it.
So here's the other thing that I think is kind of interesting about the politics right now. So Tulsi Gabbard is trying to get confirmed. And all these people are up in arms about Snowden because she believes that Snowden did us a major service by exposing our government for what it is. Okay. Which, I don't know if you've listened to a Snowden interview, but I kind of tend to agree. Like, he genuinely didn't have anything personally to gain by exposing all of those documents that he wasn't supposed to expose. But what we found out, are you guys aware of the situation with Snowden?
No.
What he did was he was an analyst who had access to a whole bunch of documents, and he was being asked to do a bunch of shit that was totally, completely illegal as a CIA analyst, right? And he took all of these documents and he basically gave them to gave them to Assange, WikiLeaks. I think, to WikiLeaks, which I think is Julian Assange. And they published them with I believe with the names of the agents and stuff like that redacted. But this is how we found out how many people, that a ton of people were being surveilled by the government with basically no basis for their surveillance. We found out like so many things about the CIA and FBI and NSA that, like, it's really hard to argue with a person of any moral stature going along with it, and they're all going along with it. Like, So obviously a lot of people are like, still, well, he did something that was illegal to a government who was doing things that are illegal. Like, it's kind of hard to argue that he's not, like, that he's any worse than they are. And it's pretty well established. But if you don't watch the news, if you haven't listened to anything about him, if you haven't listened to interviews where he was being interviewed, if you don't know anything about it, you're just coming onto the scene right now, you hear Tulsi Gabbard is a person who wants to basically pardon a guy who is a traitor to our nation. But there's a lot of people who are like, he might be as big of a patriot to our nation as anybody is. I'm not saying I know the whole story, like every detail of it, but like it's definitely not well established that, or it is well established that the things he exposed needed to be exposed. Whether he did it exactly in the right way, I really don't know. But I don't know. Those are my two main politics things today. I was tickled pink that they were up in arms about, well, who are they going to go after next? Are they going to go after the IRS? And like thought that people would, like, he like obviously thought that people
that's
would
going to be the
like,
rallying cry.
oh no, a bunch of people are like, no, you can't audit the IRS. It ain't right. I mean,
well, who would you even get to audit the IRS?
Me.
You'd have to create a whole new government wing to audit the auditors.
How would you even?
Maybe they could get USAID.
Yeah, USAID, AID to do it. No, I like the other thing is like, because all of this is happening, if you're at all interested, like there's little breadcrumbs everywhere. I know you guys aren't super interested, especially Jimmy. He doesn't care about these things, but
he might care. He just doesn't really know what he thinks about that.
That's right.
Oh,
what do you guys think?
I need
Leave in the comments.
It's not that I don't care. I don't even know what to think of that. That could be your line. I don't even know what to think of that. So what is kind of interesting to me is this. So before this moment, before Trump won re-election, or I would call it re-election, before he won the election for the third time,
so will the next time be the fourth time?
This was.
They say there won't be another election
ever
until he dies.
Which I mean, the assassination attempts, it won't be long.
So before this situation, if you talk to anyone about government spending and like the fact, like it is undeniable fact that our government way overspends every year, and if you were going to pay back all of the debt, it's something like, so which one's even bigger, a billion or a trillion? A trillion?
Trillion.
If you balanced the budget and you had $1 trillion surplus, $1 trillion surplus every year, to get the quote unquote national debt paid off would take 3,000 years or something like that. It's like,
that's not bad.
It's like some mind-bending amount of time. I should look it up before making this false claim. It's either 300 or 3,000 years. Okay. National debt clock.
Is it Japan that they do like 100-year loans, and so like if I took out a loan for 100 years. I obviously am not going to live that long. So then my kids are responsible for paying it back after my death.
Say that again.
I don't know.
I think Japan will issue, like, if you wanted to buy a house and you borrowed whatever amount of money, you could do like a 100-year loan. And
okay.
when you die, then your kids are responsible for that debt, or whoever's set up
That
to
would
be.
suck. Whoever inherits it inherits your debt.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, you do inherit, like, people inherit your debt here too. It's not written like that, but they do.
Kind of, yeah.
Like, for instance, if your parents died and they owed on their house, you get their house, but you owe their debt too. You don't get the house free and clear.
Right. But they're also whatever assets they have can pay the debt in full, but you don't get anything.
Correct. Or if you owe a small amount, yeah, there's a lot of different ways. Okay, here's the number: 36,439,498,700,800,000. I mean, it's changing, it's growing all the time right now.
What is it now?
So 499,300,400 and 500 and 600 and 700 and
Can't even keep up with
800 and okay, I'm going to say it right at the note: 36,439,500,000 and a few 100,000 change by now. Okay. Now, like, what is this debt clock hooked up to? I don't know.
So $36.5 trillion.
$36.5 trillion. And if you had $1 billion, if you had $1 billion of surplus, it would be 3,600 years before it got paid off. If you had $1 trillion of surplus, it would be 36 years. Right. So just like everything is just depends on how you want to frame it, tells you.
That's if you stop going into the debt.
You'd have to have a surplus. Every year you'd have to collect that much more than you spend. Okay. So
we're not very good at that.
But it comes out to $323,000 per taxpayer. Not per person, but per taxpayer. Only $107,000 per person. So if your tax bill was like you just added $1,000 every time you paid taxes, that would get to the national. I mean, if that $1,000 went towards surplus and the government didn't grow any more than it is, it would take 323 years to pay it off. And that would be $1,000 per person. And there's a bunch of those taxpayers who actually get money back every year without paying any money in. So you'd have to wipe all of that and then pay an extra $1,000. And so like those of us who pay, typical people, probably 10 to 20,000 in that range, I would guess. Like that's probably a typical person, right? Like I think that's 10 to 30 is probably an average tax bill in a year. 10, 20, 30 in that kind of sweet spot. The majority of people are in there. Add another 10%.
And you're only talking about federal taxes.
Right. You're just talking about, and here's the thing. You'd also like mentally take away Social Security. Like the 15% you pay to Social Security, that doesn't have shit to do with this, because that's a specific government program where that money gets siphoned off immediately and gets spent by whoever knows on whatever knows. That program is actually still technically in the red, or in the green. It's not. I don't think it's negative yet. So it's crazy. So my whole point was, like, not that long ago, when you were talking to people about stuff like this, they're like, my roads, we can't pay less taxes. And what about all the government programs? What about those poor kids that need shoes? And what about those, moms that need malt liquor? I don't know, whatever it is. Now the conversation is like, oh, oh, even it doesn't almost matter what Elon Musk does, he won't be able to make a dent in this unless our government actually shrinks dramatically. Like, there ain't enough things that the guy could do to change that equation without the government shrinking.
Yeah. I'm for it.
I'm all for it. Government shrinking? Yes, please. I mean,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Skeletonize that thing. Bare minimum.
this was the other funny thing. I'll add one more because I heard a lot of clips today for some reason. It was all on one show. There were just a bunch of clips of things that were going on. Okay. A reporter's like, so do you guys know they literally just sent out a mass letter to email to all of government employees, and they were like, basically like, if you'll quit today, you'll get
We'll give you a
severance for
buyout.
9 months.
Yeah.
If you don't quit today, I can't guarantee that you have your job on the next round of cuts. Okay. We're talking about a workforce that, like, 80% of them don't even physically show up somewhere to work ever. Like, it's insane. Okay. A reporter asked Trump today or yesterday, it was reported today, what happens if too many people quit? And he literally is just like, if too many people quit? Yeah, what happens if too many people quit? Like, this is like something he never thought of before. Like, what if all these government employees just do what you ask and they quit? He's like, we'll hire new people to replace them. I mean, like, like,
That's pretty fun.
well, yeah. Like, hire somebody who's not used to having a paycheck without going to work, maybe. Like,
People are so dumb.
I was like, are you just being a savage, or are they just asking you the dumbest questions, like, ever at this point? Well, you might as well just be like, but President Trump, what about my roads? What about my roads?
My roads.
My roads. Yeah, we should get Trevor on here. He would love to rag on the government. I'm sure he's tickled pink about it. If he's even following it. I don't know.
What we need to do is raise taxes a little bit so we can pay off this debt a little better.
Absolutely. And grow government by 10 or 20% every year.
Build some more roads.
Yeah. Build some more roads. Like, the whole thing. We should do all of it.
People,
start some new social programs.
People here in Kearney want to build another fire department, another fire station, because our town's getting too big, and so they vote on raising taxes to fund it. And I always vote no, and I tell everyone I vote no, and they're like, "Well, don't you support the fire department?" Like,
Not the one that doesn't exist.
I don't want to give them any more money.
Yeah. There's out in Belton, where we used to live, in the 15 years. So how many cycles is that of voting every 2 years? So seven. I would say we voted from Belton 7 to 10 times, somewhere in there. Those people are like, they're not, it's not a rich community. It's like a probably half down and outer kind of a community. And there has never been there's never been a tax that they did not vote onto themselves. It was the craziest thing I ever saw. It didn't matter what it was. all you had to do was like put a line in the tax. You vote on those things, and they make it sound like it's not going to cost you anything. You just get to vote it into existence,
Right.
but it's really going to cost somebody else money. And those people freaking voted themselves to like 11% sales tax before it was all said and done. Like the highest sales tax in the area. And we didn't even have curbs in that town. Like they had like Lightning McQueen and Mater dumping asphalt like on the roads, like just the sloppiest, most garbage road department. Like I'll tell you how good our road department was. Okay, our road department was so good that they had a country singer named Tate Stevens working for them. Okay, that's how good they were. Like, what's the likelihood that that guy was good at asphalt when he wasn't any better than that at singing? Like, for real.
You guys had good trash service though.
We had terrible trash service, communist trash service.
Communist?
Freaking communist trash. You weren't at one point, basically,
Keep your voice down, Danny.
You could hire anybody you wanted for trash service. And you did. So there was trash trucks driving all over that town every day. And so one day they're like, you know what? You know what we should do? We should make trash service part of your water bill and just make everybody pay for the same trash service. And then we'll hire somebody to do trash service and they'll do a great job and there'll be less trash trucks on our streets. Sounds great until you hire some moron to do trash service and it ends up being absolute garbage. Like, and then everybody's stuck with them and nobody will come to pick up your trash because if rando company drives their trash truck through Belton, they get pulled over and they get fined because they're not allowed to be there. Like literally writing trash trucks fines if they're picking up garbage in your neighborhood. So, I mean, it was asinine.
That sounds dumb.
And here's the thing. Here's the other thing about
At least you had cheap water.
Oh yeah, we had cheap water. We bought water from like 3 states away. Like, and we paid more for water than anyone in the area.
That's Belton?
Belton.
Dang.
Belton's water was 3 to 4 times higher because they were terrible at negotiating a rate with Kansas City, who pumped it out from under the river and sent it down there. No, but I'm not done with the trash service. So I listened to a podcast the other day about trash service, and I listened to a deal from the guy who ruined trash service in America.
Uh-oh.
Like literally, he ruined it. He made like an unearthly amount of money, and I'm not saying I wouldn't have done the same thing if I knew what he knew. But there was a time like 20 years ago when trash service was just mom and pop, just like it was. Trash service was like the company that replaces screens and windows. It was a mom and pop operation. They had a couple guys that worked for them and you hired them, and they would grow until like one office could no longer manage any more trucks and they wouldn't expand anymore. And it was literally like a guy like you, Jimmy, that was like, you know what? I'm tired of construction, but man, I really could drive a truck and just go pick up dumpsters and dump them. Like, I imagine we all know a guy like that. Like, there's a couple of guys around that just have 2 trucks and, just hire out their dumpsters, put a big old nice logo on it. Well, so all of those things were like long-standing and they were local. They were like every town or every county had like a couple of guys who did it. And that was all there was to say about it. Well, a bunch of those guys got to be like 60, 70, 80 years old and started kind of filing out, like selling those businesses. Well, this guy got the idea. He's like, well, what do you need a manager and a dispatcher for every single town for? We could have one dispatcher that could do like 100 of these little trash services. And so they just started going out and just like buying these deals for nothing. because they were like old guys, and they're like, man, if I could get, 200,000, 500,000, whatever, I'd just sell out and I'd retire. And they did it. They just conglomerated hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of trash companies. Super easy to find if you get a guy that can look in the yellow pages. And they just started buying the crap out of them and putting them all under these like bigger names. And so these companies just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, the problem is that trash trucks are a pain to maintain. And people like grandma wants her trash picked up before the raccoons get to it. And all of these little details about trash service are real easy to facilitate if you're local. And they're really hard to facilitate if you're a multinational size corporation. So the dude collected all of these trash companies and sold them. And then he did it like a second and third time, I think. And he sold them because their cash flow is just there. When you get 100 trash truck companies, the cash flow is mind bending. You don't think it's much, but like when everybody in a town like Belton, 20,000 people. So there might be 5 or 6,000 houses are paying you $50 a month. It gets pretty good amount of cash flow, and you sell that business. And he basically just like straight up ruined it. And he's the guy who also was selling municipalities on like hiring these big companies to do it. And Belton hired like 3 different companies, and they all just like sucked like so bad. I'm done.
Kearney did that a few years ago. They hired Republic Trash Service to pick up the entire city, and they were not very good, and they just fired them. Yeah, they just fired them, and now they have hired one of the local companies that both Darcy and I use, called Redgate.
Mhm.
And now Redgate is doing the city trash, and I'm scared it might mess us up.
Mess up Redgate.
Yeah.
You might
I
suffer
hope
because
not.
they got too much work.
Yeah, they might get overloaded, and we might whatever. They might have to raise their rates because they're not keeping up with things. They had to buy a bunch of new trucks, so they're probably in a big chunk of debt at the moment. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't affect us. It
Yeah,
hasn't
we
yet,
can-
but they've only been doing it since January 1.
Are you guys both on roll off style? Like,
I just do curb pickup.
okay. Yeah. Oh, and out at my
Mine's,
other place, I couldn't even find a guy to do it out at my Airbnb. I still take this stinking garbage back to Kansas City whenever I come back from there. It's stupid.
Every week there are 3 different companies that drive down my street picking trash up, and there are 8 houses on the entire street.
Yeah.
3 different companies. I mean, I understand the problem. Like, yeah, but like when these companies don't have to compete for it, they don't feel like they have to do as good of a job, I don't think.
Yeah.
I've had no complaints with Redgate.
No, me either. I like them a lot.
And I like the little postcard invoice they send out.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess we get the postcard. I get an email every month.
Yeah, I get a text
Invoice.
message and an email and a postcard.
Yep. Yeah, they do a good job. Maybe they'll sponsor our podcast someday.
And it's old school. I love that, like, there's a guy like standing on the back of the truck when it rolls up. At least at mine. Yours is going to be different because you've got the dumpster.
No, there's dudes on the back of the truck.
Okay. It might be the same people.
Yep. Probably.
So I have a trash truck guy story.
I thought you just told one.
My buddy from whenever I was a kid, no, I've got another one. His name's Andrew. And that dude loved being a trash man. absolutely loved it because as a trash man, you get the first pick. And he was
Yes.
not shy. He was not shy about it. He's like, "See that scooter? Got that in the trash. Got that running the trash. See that?" And he wanted to get out there and he wanted to beat the scrappers because he'd figure out a way to to collect stuff on the side of the truck and stuff and scrap metal because people set their scrap out and the scrappers will come snag it before the trash. Dude, like, smelled like a dumpster and loved every minute of his life when he was a trash man.
That's awesome.
And every time I talked to him while he was a trash man, he was like telling me about something that he had like pulled out of the trash. That was it was it was better than new because it was free in
Heck
his
yeah.
mind.
I love always
And
seeing something
I
that
mean,
was obviously thrown in the trash hanging off the side of a truck driving down the road.
yeah, I I've really had to try to not be that guy because my dad loaded up so much stuff.
I mean, have you ever
My dad
looked in the
had
front windshield of a trash truck?
Yes, that's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, those guys are kindred spirits, I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other thing he liked was doing it super fast because you got paid for your route no matter how fast you got it done.
Uh,
And so like there is like an entrepreneurial side of things to those guys because they're thinking like, dude, if I get this sucker done in 2 hours, I get paid for an 8-hour day. And so he just went after it. And so there's some of it that like when people like, oh man, you wouldn't like you wouldn't want to be a trash man. And it's like, I don't I mean, if you only had to do it for 2 hours a day and you got paid for the whole day, if you did it fast, like it's kind of a good gig if you think about it in a way.
yeah.
These dudes that come pick up
I don't
mine,
know.
they're rolling. Like they've got a system down. It's exactly the same every week. They hit this little neighborhood over here to the west of me, and then they come out back onto my street. They go and they look. It's like they're gonna head into the street across from me. Then they back into my driveway, unload my or dump my dumpster, uh, and then take off, go straight across the road, do that little loop, keep going. They're moving. They're not messing around.
Mm-hmm.
I know
They
I was
you have to
behind
move
some
yours
guys
out,
the
right?
other day. I basically just keep it in my little driveway there unless I need to drive through there, especially when it's soggy like this. In the summertime, when I push it around with the mower. So in the summertime, I move it a lot more often because I'm on the mower every week. So I'll just shove it around with the mower. But the wintertime, I just let it sit there basically. It's so
Yep.
soggy. And if they back into the yard, those trucks are heavy. They'll leave some ruts. But yeah, I was behind a trash truck the other day in a neighborhood, and I was like, "Come on, guys!" But it wasn't these guys. These guys would have flown through there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that
Ours
Republic service was real slow in Kearney. Those guys would just like sit there forever. I think they just like on their
Yeah,
phone or something.
these dudes here, they're the kind of guys that they run down the street. Like one dude's grabbing the trash on this side and dumping it in the truck so the truck's not moving. Other dude is running down to the next and is like kind of waiting on the truck to get there. And like they're just going. The truck that I was sitting behind the other day, they would dump, and then they would get back on the truck, and then they would ride for 25 feet, and then they would get off, dump, get back on the truck, ride for,
I think that's due to the type of incentive that the company gives. If the company
Yeah.
doesn't give those dudes an incentive to make that thing, like, here's the route, get it done, and you get paid,
Heck yeah.
then wouldn't you be kind of the same way if it was like, well, I'm gonna be doing this for 8 hours, or I'm gonna cut my own throat and only get 6 hours of pay? Like,
Yeah.
so you can hardly blame them.
Yeah, and that other, these guys here are a family-owned service. Redgate's family-owned and local over in Smithville. And that truck I was behind the other day was, whoever owns Deffenbaugh nowadays, Waste Management or whatever.
Oh, had said Deffenbaugh sold to Waste Management?
Yeah.
Oh,
Or is
for
it
sure. Yeah, a
the
long
same
time
company?
ago.
Okay. Well, they still call the place down here Deffenbaugh.
Yeah, there's still
think.
Deffenbaugh names on places, but it's not owned by Deffenbaugh anymore. It hasn't been for a long time.
Yeah.
I think it's Waste Management that bought them. I don't think it's WCA.
I think we had WCA for a while, and that one really sucked real bad.
That's another huge one.
We would call them, and we'd be like, nobody came to get our dumpster this week. And be like, oh, well, they'll have somebody out in the next couple of days. And then you call them like, it's been 2 weeks. Well, you should have emailed or called us. But whenever that happened, it's like, you don't know when your trucks have been somewhere. Like, you don't know that you didn't pick up people's trash that week. Well, if you don't call us or send us an email, if you don't send us an email, we don't have a record that we didn't pick it up. And it's like, but that makes no sense. Do your guys just tell you that they did? Like, I don't, like, how's that possible that the customer of trash service, which typically, if you're on a dumpster, you're not looking in your dumpster to see if it's empty. So if you're not there when it gets dumped, you're just going out
You
to
might
it the
not
next
know
time.
for a couple of days.
Yeah, you go out the next time and you're like, this never got dumped. Well, you should call us within 24 hours of when it doesn't get dumped. What? And so then when we finally were like, look, out of 12 months, your guys have probably only picked up like 40 times. We're quitting. Well, you signed a contract. And we're like, yeah, and you said you would deliver it more than 40 times. Like, you would pick it up more than 40 times a year too. So
you broke the contract.
You broke the contract too. Well, you should have notified us every time that, like, no, you should know where your trash truck drivers are. I just told them, hey, you're welcome to send me whatever bill or whatever, but you're not getting paid anymore. Like, I've more than paid you for enough weeks that didn't get picked up to, like, we should be able to call it even. You didn't do what you said, and I'm not going to keep you guys for the next 12 months. And they never did send me any more bills, and I haven't seen it hit my credit. I think that they had gotten at least enough emails stating that I wasn't happy with the service to, like, I don't know. It's one of my not favorite things when companies try to hold you to a contract that they didn't uphold. Like, nah. I'm out.
Yep.
Hey, dude, my post it's at 508 views now. I went over 500, maybe for the first time ever.
What's it about?
About my grandpa dying.
On Facebook?
Wait, what?
What? Is it a video?
Yeah, my YouTube video. It's
About your
just
grandpa dying?
It's a cover of a song by James Blunt called Monsters.
Uh-huh. Wait,
I mean,
Smith died?
not yet, but he's gonna.
Uh,
I mean,
oh, oh man. So am I.
You should write a song about Darcy
You
dying.
should sing a song for me.
I can write a song for you about you dying if you want, but it's gonna have like a deer stand in it, and it's gonna be a comedy. I
Okay.
It would
I'm
be
right with that.
mostly accurate.
mean, no. So "Monsters" by James Blunt is a song, like kind of about that the last few days before like an old father or grandpa dies, when they kind of go back to being like a little kid, and like you tuck them in bed and you turn out the lights and you tell them a bedtime story. And I just like last few times I was at my grandpa's, he was kind of that. He's just kind of like a little kid in bed, and he's happy to see you. He's not in like a lot of pain or anything, but he doesn't get up or anything like that anymore. Doesn't really even talk anymore. And a couple of days ago, I heard this song by James Blunt, and I was like, man, that's a lot like my grandpa. Only
It's a
it's
good
like a song
song.
to his father, and and I think his father was dying of like kidney failure or something like that whenever he wrote it. Um, and then I tried to play it a few times. I was like, dang, I can. There's no way I could go over there to my grandpa's house and play this with my mom there and my grandma there, and like I wouldn't be able to like hold it back. So I just recorded it and I sent it to my mom, and I was like, "Hey, show this to grandpa if you feel like it." And she basically was like, "I can't do that." Like she hasn't even showed it to him yet. So,
Well, there's where your 500 views came from.
well, here's the thing. Like I looked at that, and
And
because I was a little bit
only
afraid of
250 of
that.
them are your mom.
Uh I'll tell you, it's actually 97.1% is from browse. On channel
Nice.
pages, playlist, and suggested videos, and all of those combined to be less than what, 3%, 2.5%. So I don't know if at some point when you've listened to it like over and over and over, if the algorithm's like, no, we ain't counting that anymore.
Yeah,
So
probably.
yeah, I don't know. It's a good song. If you like sad songs, it's kind of on the
It's a good
more
song.
sad side. Yeah. I guess that's how you get views. You do something that other people have already done, and then when yours comes up, and you have a shot at a view. So
Yep.
I did not share it with like Facebook or anything like that.
No.
I didn't feel like, I don't know. I didn't feel like it. I don't know, something about it. Yeah.
Oh well, maybe you will someday.
I'm going to look it up.
Probably not that one.
Yep. All right. Well, we're over an hour in, and I am coming off of being sick last week, so I probably ought not to stay up the whole night.
You need to get your sleep so that you're ready for
Yeah.
the Chiefs game, dude.
Yes.
Are you
Yep.
going to the Chiefs game?
No.
No.
Are you coming up here for the Chiefs game?
I don't know. We haven't actually talked
You
about it.
you
now that I
mentioned
think
it
about
last week.
I was
You
thinking
guys going to
it,
have a
but
Super Bowl party over here?
Over at Jimmy's
Yeah.
house?
So here's my main thing. The main thing I want to get out of the Super Bowl party, wherever it is, and I'm gonna have to check into this because like the last couple Super Bowl parties I've been at, Anna made this like meaty, cheesy dip for
Yeah.
chips and salsa, and like
Uh-huh.
it's genuinely memorable. I'm not gonna lie. Like
I could probably get her to do it again, even though she's got to go to work.
if she's got to go to work, but she would make that. It's some good stuff, dude. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie. In fact, if my wife's
that
like,
is on the
"No, we have to
table,
go to this youth group thing," then I'll drive up to you and watch it with you for
and
the dip.
get a plate of that
Her.
to take to the youth group thing.
Yeah, yeah. Get a whole crock pot of that to take to the youth group thing, and then be like, "No, this is mine. You guys can eat whatever else it is that you're eating."
So, like, how many percentage points do you think your likelihood goes up if that cheese dips on the table?
It's getting pretty high that I skip whatever is happening with the youth group. It may not even need to have the cheese dip for me if that's our other option, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, but and if the cheese dip is on the table and us coming up there isn't on the table, then you're invited to anything we come to, too. So
Nice.
I can tell you this. I can tell you a few things for sure already. Not watching it with my cousin Ben.
No,
Zero chance of that.
Uncle Brian.
Apparently, what?
Uncle Brian.
Not watching it with Uncle Brian.
Okay.
Not watching it. Apparently, our pastor, Darcy, and his wife watch Chiefs games literally on different floors of the house because she doesn't want to deal with him. And the new pastor of New City, where we used to go to church, I watched one with him, and he's like Ben, and I'm never watching one with him again. I don't know what it is with pastors and not being able to hold their shit, but good grief, these guys can get insane about this stuff. Like,
They're
Why don't
they're
you
keeping
guys-
it together.
Why don't you guys come down to Florida and watch it with me?
dude, what's a flight to there come at a cost? A week from
Well,
today.
Yeah, not very far. Let me look. It's Fort Myers.
4
is where
days
you
from
fly
now.
into.
Can we bring the cheesy dip on a plane?
I think so.
Oh, sure. Let's carry the crock pot on my
Carry on.
lap.
Carry it in a Ziploc, in like a plastic bag wrap.
In 3-ounce
Yeah.
ounce bags. A whole bunch of them.
A whole backpack of 3-ounce bags of chip dip, cheesy dip. And you're like, well, and what's this? What is this reactor you have in there? Oh, you got to keep it warm. Big old battery pack. $1,000.
Yeah. Dang near it. Looks like you're gonna be for round trip $906.
Oh, that's better than I would have guessed. We'll think about it.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll let you know.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll let you know. Do we have a place to sleep if we go there?
I'll make
Where do we
sure of
sleep?
it.
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Well, then I guess what we can say is see you next week, or we might see you on Sunday from Bonita Springs.
Nice.
Nice.
Heck yeah. We'll give it a try.
All right. That's just not your average
Peace out,
guys show. Later.
See ya.
Oh, I'm like stuffy.
Couldn't even tell.
Good.
Dude.
All right.